The only countries I saw were the USA, the UK, Canada, and China. Whenever I am taken to a country, I realize the first thing I see is the country's map. And it's easy to remember them because I have seen them and know them before now. I saw how in these countries, people were waiting to enter certain buildings, places that actually looked like clinics, tech centers, or government offices. In front of each building stood the same type of machine. It didn't matter which country I was in. The machine was the same everywhere. It was clean, silver color, and shaped like a scanner. People walked up to it one by one. A soft light shone on their foreheads. Then, like a printer, it gently placed a glowing digital mark on their skin. The process was fast. They wasted time on no one, and no one seemed to think it was strange. In each country I was taken to, the people trusted the system. They believed it was normal, helpful, and safe. People were deceived. Even many Christians fell for it. They never thought for a second that it was the beast mark. There was no panic, no shouting, no guards forcing anyone into place. People lined up to take it out of their own will. Everything looked peaceful, too peaceful. The people stood in long lines, but there was no pushing or fear. They waited quietly, like they were standing in line for a concert or a new phone. Some talked softly to each other. Others stared at their devices. A few even smiled, as if they felt lucky to be part of something new. They all looked calm, relaxed, even excited. No one asked, what was this mark for? No one even asked, should we be doing this? Instead, they trusted the people running the system. They believed what they were told. And I could hear the security guards there informing the people that it's for protection. It makes life easier. It's the future. Everyone's doing it. It's just a scan. They said it's safe. But I could feel what they couldn't. A weight in the air. A quiet sadness grew in the background. They didn't see it, but I did. It was like watching people walk toward a cliff, smiling, not knowing there was no ground ahead. I looked at the machine again. It didn't make a noise. It didn't scare anyone. It was designed to look clean, soft, and smart. When a person stepped forward, it scanned their forehead with a quick laser light and placed the digital mark right there just above their eyebrows. The mark glowed faintly, like a small light in the dark. It seemed harmless, but I knew it wasn't. I could feel that something was changing the moment the mark touched their skin. Not just their body, but something deep inside them. Yet still, more people came, one after another, willingly, without force, without fear. The machine was placed at the entrance of every building I saw in the vision. It was built to look friendly, modern, clean, even beautiful. It had no sharp edges, no loud sounds, like something you'd see in a hospital or tech center. Each person, one by one. The machine scanned their forehead with a quiet light, a glowing digital symbol right in the center of their forehead. It wasn't large, and it didn't hurt. The people looked pleased when it was done. Some touched it lightly and smiled. Others walked away with pride, as if they had received something valuable. It became a fashion. And if you didn't have it, you would be mocked. They were told it would make life easier, that it would help them buy and sell faster, that it would keep them safe in a changing world, that with the mark, they wouldn't have to carry cards or cash or IDs anymore. It was the smart thing to do, the modern way. The world was moving forward, and this was the next step. So they said yes. They said yes to the system without asking God. I saw people laughing after they got marked, taking selfies, talking about how fast it was. Some were even rewarded with discounts, jobs, and free access to things. They felt lucky, blessed even. It was all over social media. It became a trend. After many had received the mark, I saw something change. The excitement and joy that filled their faces began to fade. It wasn't sudden, it was slow, like a light dimming over time. Some people became quiet, others started to feel empty. I could sense regret rising in their hearts, though they couldn't fully explain why. Then I saw crowds of them heading toward churches. These were not people who hated God, number many, who had once been believers. Some had grown up in the church. They had once served in God's ministry, sang in choirs, even preached from pulpits. They thought they had only accepted a simple upgrade, a smart system. But now, something inside them began to cry out. They missed the presence of God. They wanted to pray again, to worship again, to feel what they used to feel. So they ran back to the churches, hoping to return to what they once knew. But what I saw next broke my heart. Outside each church, there stood angels. They were tall, glowing, and holy. Their eyes were full of sorrow, not anger. They weren't holding swords or shouting. They just stood still, blocking the doors. When the people with the mark came near the church entrance, the angels didn't speak. They simply lifted their hands. And in that moment, the marked ones were not allowed to enter. It was like a line had been drawn, a line that couldn't be crossed. Some fell to their knees, but the doors stayed closed. I could hear singing, prayer, the pure presence of God. But outside there was silence and sorrow. The people who had once worshipped now stood rejected, not because God didn't love them, but because they had chosen another master. And that choice had marked them forever. They had crossed a line they didn't see coming. They tried to go back to God after they gave themselves to the beast, but it was late. The door was closed, not out of anger, but by holiness. And the angels, they wept. They didn't hate the people. They mourned for them because they had chosen the mark over Jesus. And now, the time to return had passed. It was at this moment I woke up. The enemy's plan was to fool people into trusting something that would take their freedom and their faith by hiding in technology and modern ideas. The enemy made the mark look harmless, even helpful. Most people didn't realize they were giving themselves to the beast system. They thought they were just making a smart choice, but the vision showed me the truth. The enemy's cleverness is in hiding his power behind things that feel safe and good. The beast doesn't roar loudly, it whispers, and many follow without knowing where the path leads. God gave me this clear instruction to also share out concerning this vision he gave me. He lays it in my heart to know that we cannot simply trust what looks good or feels easy. We must be careful, watchful, and wise. We need to pray every day, asking God to give us wisdom and understanding. Prayer opens our hearts and minds to hear God's voice, helping us see what is true and what is false. We must read God's word, the Bible, often. The Bible is like a light shining in the dark, guiding us on the right path. When we know God's truth, we can recognize lies and tricks more easily. And before trusting anything new, whether it's a new technology, a new idea, or a new rule, we must ask God first. Taking time to listen and seek his guidance can protect us from making choices that could harm our spirit. The world will keep changing. New systems and promises will come and go. But God's truth never changes. By staying alert and close to him,